this fine organization for putting together such a wonderful program with such eminent speakers from India. And I'm wondering how come I find myself here amongst such illustrious people. But thank you for asking me. I'll be representing many yoga practitioners and teachers from around the whole world. And we'll start with a short prayer. If you can bring your thumbs together and place them against your heart, and then close the palms of the hands gently, which will connect what is known as the Manovaham Nadi, running from the Manipura chakra to the Ajna chakra, we can chant Om, A, U, Ma. According to the science of Hatha Yoga, the vibrations of that sound will help to pierce the granthis or blockages to understanding our real nature. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. So thank you, everyone. And I have 15 minutes to quickly discuss what I've understood and experienced as the science of Hatha Yoga, although I am really aware that the science will lead us towards understanding something beyond it, which is the vast mystery of this universe, how consciousness, God, whatever you want to call that divine energy, being, has manifested itself at this particular time in the human body in such a way that we can use the abilities of the human body to actually transcend the thought process and understand that vast mystery of being, consciousness. So somehow the human body has a particular structure and a particular nervous system and particular hormones working through the rest of the structure of the body, the musculoskeletal system, the lymphatic system, the digestive system, and all these other systems, and can be tuned just like we can tune a radio to get a radio station somehow through the science of Hatha Yoga or yoga. We can somehow tune this body and use that fine tuning to transcend the limitations that have been created by our own thinking processes over millennia. This in the science of Hatha Yoga, and we're remembering the science through the International Yoga Day, which is an odd thing since we need to practice yoga every day over many, many, many lifetimes before we can even reach any deeper understanding of how it works. But it is so wonderful to have a yoga day where we can all get together and remember this. The Hatha Yogis, through millennia, I want to thank so much of the great country of India for somehow or other producing a constant lineage of yogis and, of course, many other great sages and beings that have understood somehow intuitively the nature of consciousness, being. We are here. Somehow these great sages have understood that through their method, means, or their deep meditation, or their intuition, whatever it is, and they have given us steps or guidance how we ourselves can reach this level. So, because it is Yoga Day, I'd like to focus a little bit on the yogis known who are famous through the sampradaya of Naths via the text of Hatha Yoga, particularly the Hatha Yoga Pradipika, in which we see a description of the human body in a different way that it is understood by modern science. And that description is given to us as the body itself has different levels, the physical one that we're seeing and hearing, and a subtle one that can move away from this physical body, and even another body that's something like a seed, which has within it the possibilities of infinite bodies in the so-called future. And what yogis have said is, if somehow we arrange the particular structures in such a way and use our breath particularly in such a way, we can actually at some point transcend the thought process and allow ourselves to intuitively understand the nature of ourself and consciousness. So they've given different methods to do that, and these methods have become very popular today all around the world, particularly the mere physical aspect of the asana, different postures and positions. But we should remember that the essence of the word asana literally means to sit with the breath. And so slowly after we've opened our bodies via asana, we come to the stage of sitting with the breath, usually called as prana yama, or prana is that which moves everywhere with everything, and then the yama, which is to somehow lengthen it, extend it, to get some control over it, so that we can transcend the thought activity, the mental activity, which the sage Patanjali termed as vritti, or movement of the mind. And in yoga, these two things are seen as the same. The prana, the manas, that is all just movement of vrittis, vibrational waves, and that somehow the human body is particularly adept to be able to sit still, use the breath to transcend that mental activity. This is one path. There are many, many other paths, as well everyone knows. My guru's guru, the great Swami Shivananda, mentioned that in this day and age, it is helpful to practice a little bit of all the different yogas like Hatha Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Kundalini Yoga, etc. yoga. So there's so many different types of yoga, and today we even have brand names for those yogas. But they all have the same thing, which is the balance brought about through first control of the body, control of the mind, via controlling the breathing process. If we can easily control the mind, we don't need to really master these breathing processes, but that is difficult to do. So a yogi in the modern age, with so many distractions around them, should go on steadily practicing all these different aspects little by little, to allow themselves to slowly get the mind focused, concentrated, and ultimately transcended. As if you were in full deep sleep, but wide awake, fully awake. This, I understand, is the process of yoga and needs to be practiced all the time, not just on a yoga day, but particularly on a yoga day, but every single day. Soon as we come out from the deep sleep state, we should pay attention to our breath. We should do exercises that keep our bodies cleansed and healthy. And then as we proceed through our different stations of life during the day, whatever work we do, we keep paying attention to that wonder and mystery that somehow this vast consciousness of being has manifested itself in the particular body in which we find ourselves living at this particular moment. And how can we use that body? How can we use the mind, use the breath, balance the hormonal activities, have the nervous system, sympathetic and parasympathetic, work in a balanced manner instead of sympathetic overdrive or parasympathetic underdrive, etc. This is the science of yoga, and this yoga is one of the greatest gifts that India has given to the world at large. So it is my prayer that we can all practice yoga and transcend our limitations, the so-called, in yogis termed as grantis, or blockages to the flow of prana, and allow that universal prana energy to just flow, and we'll become, as yoga says, one absolute whole harmonious being, which will also shine as health, well-being, prosperity, calm, happiness, peace, etc. This is a great endeavor. It is difficult, and with all the prayers of the previous enlightened sages and siddhas of the Hatha Yoga lineage that India has given birth to, with their prayers and help, we can overcome our physical material limitations. So that's all I would like to say. And thank you very, very much. I'm quite surprised how I ended up with such eminent, highly educated, really interesting speakers here. But thank you, Sunil Joshi, for reaching out to me. And I'll say a short prayer to close. Asato ma satgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityo ma amritam gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om Tat Sat.